All right, this is the Algebra 1, Unit 3, Lesson 2 video. The only real difference between this lesson and the lesson you did previously, the last lesson we did, is that now they are introducing a situation where there are more than one x, there's more than one variable, and they're on either side of the equation. So you can see here, like in example 1, we have an x over here, 2x minus 6 equals x plus 4. So we have x's on either side, and so we have to do something first before we can kind of finish solving or kind of get started solving. And that really is to just get everything organized to where you have x's on one side and and numbers on the other. So I'm going to work through a set of problems that are basically different versions of the ones you see on your lesson. So what I'm telling you is that the 10 questions I'm about to do correspond exactly with the 10 questions you see on your lesson. So what I would recommend, like I did in the last lesson, watch me do the first and then go and do number 1 on the lesson and go back and forth like that. So again, the numbers of my questions correspond with the numbers of the questions in the lesson. So first things first, 5x plus 2 equals 17 plus 2x. Okay, as you can see, like I said, there is an x on either side of the equation. We need to get this 2 over to the other side of the equation. And so to do that, we use basic algebra rules. Remember, we have an equation that's balanced. In order to keep it balanced, whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do the other. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2x so that it goes away on this side and comes over here. 5x minus 2x is 3x. I still have that plus 2 equals, and I still have that 17. And then I just continue solving from here, doing the steps we took in the last lesson. So nothing new from here. I just subtract 2 from both sides. That goes away, giving me 3x equals 15. Since it's 3 times x, I need to divide by 3. And I'm left with x equals 5, and that's the solution. So again, the steps here is to move all the x's together first, and then solve using the steps we used in the previous lesson. So really the only new thing here is this step at the very beginning of moving the x across. Everything else from there is the algebra steps we learned in lesson 1. Okay, moving on to our next problem, problem number 2. Negative 4x minus 7 equals 2 minus 5x. Again, very similar type of problem. I'm going to move my x's across. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides. Again, I'm keeping my equation balanced down the center line. Adding 5x to both sides. This is going to cancel out. Minus 4 plus 5 is 1x minus 7 equals 2. Continue going. I need to get my x by itself, so I'm going to move the 7. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Cancels out, leaving me with 1x equals 9, or x equals 9. So those first two are pretty straightforward. Same thing with this next one. Question number 3. Question number 3 says 8x plus 4 equals 7x plus 8. More of the same. Move my x's across. That should be your first step every time. 8x minus 7x is x, or 1x, plus 4 equals 8. We're going to move the 4 across by subtracting, leaving me with x equals 4. So again, the first 3 there, pretty straightforward. Not a lot of stuff that's too weird. Just move the x across and then solve. All right, in the next problem, we have this one. Now we're going to introduce some fractions. X equals 16 minus 1/3 x. All right, so in order to do this, we're just going to do what we've been doing all along. We're going to add 1/3 x. That is going to cancel out. And it's going to come over here and add a 1/3 x as well. Remember, this is a 1x, so it's 1x plus 1/3 x. If we go over to our fraction, or to our calculator, we can add 1 plus 1/3, and we get 1.333. And if I click this symbol after it, it turns it into 4/3. That is the equivalent fraction to that decimal. So then this becomes 4/3 x equals 16. And you should remember from the last lesson that when I have a fraction times x, I want to multiply times the reciprocal. Those are going to cancel, leaving me with x equals 16 times 3/4. Let's do our fraction. Let's do our calculator. 16 times 3/4. And we get 12. So that works out nice and even. X equals 12. All right. So that's like number 4 in your lesson. So make sure you take a look at that. Number 5. We have 1/3 x equals 1/4 plus, or 1/4 x plus 1/4. Sort of similar idea, but what we're going to do first is we are going to move our x like we've been doing in all these problems. We're going to subtract 1/4 x. That is going to cancel out. We're going to subtract 1/4 x over here as well. The 1/4 on this side is going to come down. That's coming from up here. That's going to come down. And we need to do 1/3 minus 1/4. So we jump over to our calculator and do 1/3 minus 1/4. Oops, made a mistake there. 1/3. 1/3. Let's see if I can get this to work. 1/3 minus 1/4. And I did it again. Minus 1/4. And that didn't work either. Minus 1/4. Having trouble there. Sorry, everybody. And so we look at this and we get 1/12. So this is 1/12 times x equals 1/4. We have a reciprocal problem once again. We're going to multiply this times 12 over 1. Multiply this times 12 over 1. Those are going to cancel, leaving me with x equals, and you should be able to see right here this is going to cancel, but you can just do it in your calculator if you want. You can do 1/4 times 12, and I get 3. X equals 3. And that's because this 4 and this 12 reduce to 3. So that becomes x equals 3. Again, more of the same in the lesson, just to let you see. I've done problems that are pretty much exactly like the ones you're going to see. That would be number 4 and 5, the ones I just did. You can see how these are set up exactly like the ones I did for you in the lesson. Now we jump to number 6. Similar idea. We have some fraction stuff introduced. So let's jump down here. And on number 6, we have x over 2 plus 5 equals 2x plus 2. All right. We're going to go and do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to subtract 2x. We're going to subtract 2x over here. That's going to cancel, leaving me with x over 2 minus 2x. Now remember, x over 2 should probably be rewritten as 1/2 x. So we have 1/2 minus 2. Come over to our calculator and we do 1/2 minus 2 ends up with negative 1.5, or negative 3 over 2, which is what we're going to use. Negative 3 over 2x plus 5 equals 2. Now we're just solving it the way we've been solving all of these. We're going to move 5 across. We're going to subtract it to get rid of it. And we're going to end up with negative 3 over 2x equals negative 3. So now we're going to do the reciprocal rule. We're going to multiply this times negative 2 over 3. We're going to multiply this times negative 2 over 3. These are obviously going to cancel, giving me x equals, and we're going to do negative 3 times negative 2/3. Negative 3 times negative 2/3, and we get 2. So that works out nice and even. And so x equals 2. I'm wanting you to see that the intimidation factor with fractions, I want to kind of get rid of that for us, because really the way you're working this out is more or less going to be the same as you would if it was whole numbers. I am actually going to do number 7 for you from the lesson, because they're not going to see anything like that on the test. So let's jump over here and get this copied down. Negative 11 over 2 equals 19 over 6y. Minus 7/3. All right. Actually, what's interesting about this one is it's already set up for you. You don't need to move the y. You can just move this 7/3 across. I'm going to add 7/3 to both sides. So that's going to cancel. I'm going to add 7/3 over here. Negative 11 over 2 plus 7 over 3. We're going to go straight to our calculator for that. Negative 11 over 2 plus 7 over 3. 7 divided by 3. We get, if we turn that into a fraction, negative 19 over 6. So we end up with negative 19 over 6 equals 19 over 6y. Now, that should be kind of obvious what's going to happen there. We know that if we do the reciprocal of this and we do 6 over 19, and we do it to both sides, these are going to cancel out, leaving me with y equals negative, I shouldn't have done it that way, sorry about that. Let's go back. 6 and 6 cancel, 19 and 19 cancel, leaving you with negative 1 equals y. So that's your solution to number 7 in your unit. So make sure you get that one copied down. 3 more problems to go. The next one is a cross multiplication problem. Anytime you see an equation where you have 2 fractions equal to each other, you're going to do cross multiplication. Y plus 2, this is number 8 now, over 2y minus 6 equals 4 over 3. We know that we're going to be cross multiplying. So we're going to multiply these and we're going to multiply these. So when I do that, I get 3 times y plus 2 equals 4 times 2y minus 6. And now we have a problem like we did in the last unit where we need to work everything out. We need to distribute the 3, we need to distribute the 4, and then we need to solve. So here we end up with 3y plus 6 equals 4 times 2 is 8y minus 24. Now we have a problem like number 1, 2, and 3 in this lesson. So I'm going to subtract 8y from both sides. I end up with negative 5y plus 6 equals negative 24 because this canceled out. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Negative 5y equals negative 30. And then my last step is going to be divide by negative 5. Cancels out, y equals 6. You need to use your calculator for negative 30 divided by negative 5. If you'll go right ahead. But I want you to see that's going to be cross multiplication. Next one's a little weird. You're not going to see this on the test, but I want to go ahead and work one out like it. Number 9 has these decimal numbers. 0.6 plus 0.2y equals 0.4y plus 0.8. I'm going to tell you what you can do right at the very beginning of this problem. You can change all of these into whole numbers. Since they're all 0.1, if I move the decimal place for each one of these one time, I end up with the following. 6 plus 2y equals 4y plus 8. And now we have a problem just like the one we've been solving. So I'm going to, let's see, subtract 4y. Oops. Subtract 4y. 6 minus 2y equals 8. I need to get rid of my 6 now. Minus 6, minus 6. Cancels out. Negative 2y equals positive 2. Sorry about that. Positive 2. Then lastly, divide by negative 2 on both sides. Y equals negative 1. That's very much like number 9. And then lastly, number 10, we've reached the end. Here's an example like number 10. 8x minus 4 equals 5x plus 3. And this is very much like maybe what we had after the first step here on number 8. Got some parentheses, but more or less same process. We're going to distribute this 8 to the entire problem. This 8 is going to go there, not to the entire problem, but into the parentheses, and we're going to get 8x minus 32 equals 5x plus 3. I made a bit of a mistake here, so I'm actually going to change the original problem. Sorry about that. I'm actually going to change this to a 3 here, and that should hopefully do the trick. That's going to become a 24. Now we solve by subtracting our x to get it over here with the 8x. 3x minus 24 equals 3. Add 24 to both sides. 3x equals 27. And then finally divide both sides by 3. Cancels out, leaving me with x equals 9. I know that was a lot, but you've got an example to go with each of the questions from the lesson. So make sure you go ahead and go back and forth, answering each question, making sure you understand how to do the work, and we'll pick back up next with lesson 3.